Is somebody going to be willing to hire you? Will they write you a check? Will they send you the money? That's the test. And when I get an idea, I look at the idea and say, okay, does that sound compelling, differentiated to me? Does that sound unique? But I'm still not sure. So what do? I Google it. And I read every single thing that I possibly
Friday
can
afternoon
about
in
that
June
idea.
last year.
And every single thing that I possibly can about the companies that are in that business. I'll read the financials, whatever it is I can find. What I look for in an idea on Shark
Best to
Tank.
address your staff
The
in
thing
New York,
that gets me the most
York,
excited
London,
is
and
when I
around the
sit there
world.
listening to the pitch, and my first thought is, damn, why didn't I think of that?
Say hello to Hickaway, the most effective way that you can stop your hiccups.
What's the effectiveness rate?
We show 90% effective.
Shark Tank is exactly what it appears to be.
He wants to
Someone
put an
comes
end
on the
to
carpet. We know nothing about them when they walk
rumors
in the
that
door. They spend their
that the
3
firm is
minutes
in trouble.
pitching us whatever it may be, and then we pepper them with questions to help us understand whether or not this is a good investment or bad investment. And that in turn hopefully helps the entrepreneur and potentially gets them a deal.
I guarantee you this will become part of everybody's medicine cabinet. Guaranteed, right? So I'll make you an offer, right? And I just want a yes or no.
I'm gonna tell you a Shark Tank secret. If you walk in and stand on that carpet and you say to us, this is a $7.3 billion market, and if I only get 1% of that market, I'll have $73 million in sales or profits. It's an immediate, I'm out. Get out of here, right?
As institution.
Because everybody's going to say, if I only get this small percentage, and it seems so easy to get 1%, right? Who can't get 1%? But you can.
And we will do it.
And so I don't look at
12 weeks later, the bank went
I
bust.
don't look at potential market
Brothers
share.
suffering a spectacular
I look at it
downfall
and
is
say, can I take this product and service and sell the heck out of it and make a profit out of it? And what's it going to take for me to do it? And is that worth my time and worth the economics?
Mike, you have a deal.
Crazy. Well done. There's gonna be times when people walk on the carpet with the best intentions and they're excited about their business, and they'll give you all kinds of numbers and they'll give you, why they think it's important and why they think it's exciting. But the reality is, fart candles are not gonna make a difference in the world.
Stock markets tumble.
And then on the other hand, there are companies like Wondery Wines, great product, better entrepreneurs.
Tired of boring wines that leave you without a buzz? Creative handcrafted cocktails that hate the time and work they take to make.
Well, Sharks, do we have the solution for you?
Drum roll, please. Introducing Wondery.
An international award-winning collection of wines infused with organic fruit extracts and crafted with a kick.
Those who were there on the
Hi, I'm
inside
Whitney Gates,
tell the
CEO
stories of
and
the
co-founder
events
of
that
Wondery
changed
Wine.
the world.
I'm also Chaz Gates, her better half, and COO and co-founder of Wondery Wine.
Crafting the elevator pitch was actually incredibly difficult because we wanted to make sure that we were delivering the entertainment for TV, but we were informing the Sharks on what our business was and why it filled a unique need or unique niche within the industry.
Honestly, the most successful pitches are those that surprises and delights the listener, where you reveal to them that, oh man, I never really knew I needed this.
We call that infotainment in the
Infotainment,
marketing
yeah.
industry.
And so you leave the listener feeling like, man, I need to go to the store to buy this now without having to tell them.
Not everybody is going to be great at making a pitch when there's a bunch of TV cameras on you and there's 5 sharks getting ready to ask you questions. You can practice all you want, but that's hard. So what stood out about Chad and Whitney was everything they said was relative to growing the business.
We're winemakers, and so with the investment, we would invest that into equipment, so an automatic bottling line will help us be more efficient, and the
So you own
winemaking,
all your own equipment, you do all your own bottling.
all of it, yes.
They were doing the work. They were bottling it, and they wanted a machine to improve the process of bottling. They were taking the wines to retailers and selling them themselves instead of hiring a distributor to do all that for them. I thought, you know what? They're a husband and wife team, and with just a little bit of support, I can help them continue to grow. Doesn't mean they're going to be a $100 million company tomorrow, but we could go from 100,000 in sales to 500,000 to $1 million to 2 to 5 million and take it from there. And that's exactly what's
We're
happening.
trying to do our part, to do what was being asked of us, and with a sense of the clock ticking.
Every entrepreneur wants to grow. Now, there's a big difference between growing profitably and growth for the sake of growth, and I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs get confused. So, you're a startup entrepreneur, typically it's probably just you, maybe 1, 2 other people. You should prioritize not spending money. You should do everything possible not to spend money, and you should focus everything you can on how can I improve my sales and my profit margins, my gross margins. And that's what my mindset is, how can I increase my sales with high gross margins, which then increases my profits? And how can I think about that every single day?
We make our wine ourselves. It's a dirty job. We're in the winery, and it's exhausting.
Traffic between Treasury and the US Treasury, between the regulators.
We were looking to become more automated in our approach to producing wine. And so we had seen a number of unique automated bottling lines. Chaz went to this conference and saw these jazzy, state-of-the-art bottling lines, and we said, hey, Mark, we've got these options, and Mark goes, lease something old from one of those companies that you saw. Instead of getting their newest innovation, find something older that gets the job done just as well, that is much cheaper. And so we went with his advice. That was a really great piece of advice and practical piece of advice that
It was clear
Mark
from the
offered
start
up.
there'd be little sympathy from the government.
It was really...
You know, margins as a startup really depend on your product or service. If you're a service-driven company where you're the product and you're doing work for somebody, you want your margins to be 80, 90, 95% because effectively you're paying yourself, right? And to grow that company, you're going to have to hire individuals. You're going to have to pay for their expertise. For product-driven companies, it really depends on the product that you're selling and the market you're selling to. If you're a high volume, low margin, you're going to have to make sure you know your numbers. So I'll give you an example. There are companies that sell consumer products companies into big box retailers. It might be a chocolate bar, it might be soap, it might be sponges, whatever it is. Because you're putting it on a retail shelf, you're going to have to understand how the demand is driven. Sometimes demand is going to be driven by advertising in their circulars. Sometimes your demand is going to be driven by placement. And they know where the most valuable spots in your store are. You know, are you at the checkout counter, right? Are you on an end cap, so you're right on the end of the aisle? Are you at eye level or are you at the bottom? And they know those are the valuable spots in their store, and so they charge you a premium to be there. That is the equivalent of a marketing or advertising fee, but you have to build that into your cost of goods so that it becomes part of your margin.
Proud to call himself a Lehman lifer. In 1966,
I had a company that we just invested, we're about to invest in, we're doing due diligence. And we asked them about those special fees, NCAP fees, etc. They said, well, we don't include those in cost of goods sold. And I'm like, well, then your margins are wrong. You don't have the 40% margins you're telling us you have. You actually have 3% margins because you're spending 37% on all these in-store promotions and things that you have to do. And that's why you're losing money, because you're not able to drive demand without doing in-store promotions. And so when it comes to margin, you have to know specifically what your demand drivers are and account for all those when you're pricing your product. Wondery Wines, they have to understand that they're in a stair-step business, meaning that once they get to a certain level of sales, they need more production equipment to allow them to grow more. So not only do they need to have enough margins to pay for their cost of goods sold, pay for the wine, to pay for employees, to pay for facilities, but they need to anticipate that they have to put money in the bank to be able to afford a step up in their production equipment.
Mark's advice has always been to not do too much too soon. And what he means by that is if you have a good, solid product that resonates with consumers, over time it is going to grow and skyrocket organically. You know, we use the business life coach, because working with Mark as a mentor, sometimes his advice is very different than what we expect. Even sometimes we were just sending him an update, just saying, hey, here are our numbers, we're expanding here, and we want him to be happy for it. But then he's that face of reason, or that kind of parent who steps in and says, hey, growth is great, but what are your velocities off shelf? You're expanding to these new markets, but we also have to make sure that your in-store purchases are healthy and that they're growing. And so, yeah, sometimes we go in and we think we're expecting one answer, but then he gives us this truth serum. And it's exactly what you need. You may not want it in the moment, but a few months down the line, you realize, man, that advice was spot on.
We get this right today.
Dick Ford also had an insatiable
You can
appetite
drown in
for
opportunities
profits.
where
With or without
companies think,
royalties.
okay, I've got this product, let me add another. And let me tell you
In
why companies do
1994,
that.
one share
You
cost
get started
$4.
as an entrepreneur and you come up with a good idea and it's selling. You think, oh, I'm good at coming up with ideas and selling things. And when that product, that first product kind of hits a slowdown, and you realize it's going to be hard to find a way to accelerate those sales again, we tend to go and try to find another product. And that's what entrepreneurs always do, and it's almost always a mistake. Too often, entrepreneurs try to rush the process. They try to grow too fast. They think, well, I got to be to $1 million or $5 million or $10 million in sales fast. No, you got to stay in business, and you got to generate margin dollars that pay your bills. And so it's not just about how big I am. It's about, am I profitable? Can I stay in business? And am I running this company in a manner that allows me to stay in business should something go wrong?
It was a form of alchemy, that it was a way of taking risk.
Shortly after going on Shark Tank, we sold out of everything.
So widely that
We sold out on shelf, we sold out online, and we faced a really critical point because it takes time to produce and bottle wine. And so one of the first pieces of advice he went to Mark was, what do we do? And the first thing he told us was, well, your consumers, they want to hear from you. Create a video where you can speak to your consumers directly and be honest with them about the experience of why there may be delays.
No business is going to go perfectly. No business is a straight line. So any entrepreneur that runs into an issue trying to hide, the cover-up's always worse than the crime, right? Even in small business, because when your customer finds out that it wasn't quite the way you explained it, trust declines. And let me just tell you, in this day and age, when we talk about misinformation, the #1 product or service for every single company in the world, no matter what it is you're actually selling, is trust.
Was sitting in judgment over him. He had not been invited to the crisis meeting of chief executives.
I bought the Mavs for $285 million, and now it's worth $3 to $4 billion, depending on who you
After
ask.
the bank chiefs had left the building, their accountants and lawyers carried on working through the night.
No, broadcast was still better, but it makes it pretty damn good.
Well, Lebanon native Mark Cuban making national headlines this morning.
Yeah, big time. He is expected to sell a majority of his stake in the Dallas Mavericks.
And under the terms of this deal, Cuban will still maintain full control of the team's basketball operation.
No matter what percentage of the Mavs I own, running a team is what I love the most.
And so, yeah, I've learned a lot from running the Mavs. One, I learned that running a professional sports team like the Dallas Mavericks is completely unlike any other business or industry anywhere in the world. Sports, you're just in a different place in people's hearts. Families don't grow up cheering for Google. Google can have the best quarter ever, set every record possible. Nobody throws a party. When a team goes on a run and does really, really well during the season and in the playoffs, the whole city's on fire. When you go to a Mavs game, when you walk in the door, you feel the energy. You feel the excitement. And if it's a close game, there's that moment where the whole crowd is standing up cheering defense or let's go Mavs. And what I've learned from it is that it is possible to create an emotional connection to people, not just between a sports team, but in a lot of different businesses. And that's how you create communities, and communities support each other. And when they support each other, they recommend to each other how to use the company or how to support the company or how to help the company. And that allows me to find ways to do business that I never imagined before I started running the Mavs.
But the man in charge of the U.S. Treasury,
I want to win.
Hank Paulson,
That's my
had
priority.
already made clear
Every
that was
single
not an
game
option.
is a ball of
happened
stress for
next
me because I
took
want to win
everyone
that
by
bad.
surprise.
When I first bought the team, after we lost a game, it would take me 2 days to recover. And now, I just stress eat if we lose.
The following morning, most New Yorkers were oblivious to the drama playing out down
I get asked all the time if there's a specific sector or area or business that's ripe for innovation or ripe for disruption or ripe for starting a business. That's not the way I look at things at all. I love to learn. I always try to expand my horizons. And as I experience things, I tend to walk into any business, any circumstance and say, okay, how would I change this? What could I do better? How would I reinvent this? And that's what gets me excited, and that's how I approach things. I was a season ticket holder for the Dallas Mavericks. I went to opening night, and it's not a sellout. There's no energy in the building. I was sitting there going, I can do a better job than this. And then I realized it. I could afford to buy the Dallas Mavericks, and I did. And I approached it completely differently than every other owner in the NBA did. In fact, I was so different, they used to yell at me and scream at me. Like, when I first got to the Mavericks, we spent more money on software training than we did on player development in any business. You're only as good as your employees. And so I brought in probably 15 former Mavericks who were looking for ways to get back into the NBA after their playing days. I just said, I want you to come in and be development coaches. And you'll be on our roster, we'll show you in the program that you are a development coach for the Dallas Mavericks. The whole league went nuts. We finished out the season I bought them like 23-9, and the next year we went on to have 50-win seasons the next 10 years. And so people realized, maybe we're doing something right. And now every team has got 10 development coaches. But the point is, I didn't go looking by sector, and I never have, and I never will. What I do is, based off of my experiences, when I walk into a room, when I walk into a business, when I read about something, I always ask myself, could I do a better job? And if I think I can, and I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is, I'll go for it. When I first bought the team, it became really clear to me as a customer that they thought their product was basketball. And it really, and this is a lesson I learned then that I've kept, try to apply to all my businesses. You have to know what business you're in. The NBA is not in the business of basketball. We are in the business of experiences. You go to the games not to watch a game. You can do that at home. You go to the games to get a unique experience, to feel that energy, to yell, to scream, to let it out. We have to be the answer to what do you want to do tonight. And we want to be the first thought that comes to your mind when we get tickets to the Mavs game. Because you can go to McDonald's, you can go out to dinner, you can go to a movie, you can go to the park, you can go to a concert. There's 1,000 different things that you can do. We want to be the answer to what do you want to do tonight. When I bought the Mavs, I didn't put myself in a CEO's office. I put my desk right in the middle of all the salespeople and picked up the phone and started calling previous customers and tell them why they should buy Mavs tickets. I'm a huge fan of direct sales because having a person reach out to somebody and create a connection, it educates you in so many ways. It tells you what that prospect feels about your product or service. It tells you what they feel about the pricing. And because you can figure out who your most valid prospect is going to be, you know who to talk to. And when you do that, you are going to get a stronger connection to your customer. So my preference is wherever possible to use a direct sales force. ticket sales are important to the Mavericks for two reasons. One, the revenue obviously you want to be able to have because the payrolls are high and you got to be able to support those payrolls. But more importantly is the value of butts in the seats, because the more people in the arena, the greater the energy. The greater the energy, the more people chanting defense, defense, or let's go Mavs. The more energy that's in the arena, the more people want to come play for the Mavericks. So there's this symbiotic relationship between just the ticket sales and performance on the court, which is why I've never priced our tickets to optimize revenue. I've always priced our tickets to optimize the number of people in the arena. I mean, we're the 5th largest or 6th largest market, and our average ticket price is down in the bottom 10. Up until I think last year, we had cheaper tickets than the NFL team had parking. I mean, look, I could run the team to make money and make money, but I don't think I'd put us in the best position to win. And that's what I care about. That's why I bought the team.
How different it all seemed 9 months earlier.
When I first bought the team, you know, I wasn't trying to make the most amount of money off the Mavs, so I let the business side of it just pretty much run itself. And we had a situation where the CEO had done some things that shouldn't have been done and allowed some behavior that shouldn't have been allowed. I was absentee, and things didn't go in the direction that they should have. And so I had to do a full-scale replacement from top to bottom of management. And that's exactly what we did. We brought in St. Marshall to revitalize the culture and the operations. And if you look now at what the company looks like, we reflect the community a lot more than we did. And we have procedures in place that protect us against this happening again. I want the companies I invest in and the people I hire to represent my customer base and to reflect my customer base. Whether it's gender, whether it is sexual orientation, whether it is race, whatever it may be, there's going to be things that I'm not going to be able to understand or connect to that somebody who's part of a community can. And I think that makes it easier to sell. That makes it easier to make a customer happy. That makes it easier to connect to them. And I think that's just good business.
By 2007, Lehman's was the largest underwriter.
Finding the right person for key positions in a company is hard. Now, if you're a company of 5, 10, 15 people, chances are you're hiring somebody you know, and that's a good thing, because trust is just as important as knowledge, because the economics and your finances are always up in the air when you're that small. But as you get to 50 or 100 or 200 or more people, hire slow. Take your time to find the right fit. Make sure that that person is interviewed not just by you, not just by a human resources person, but the people that they may be managing or may be managed by. And take your time. And if that person doesn't work for whatever reason, cut them fast too. Because holding on to somebody when they shouldn't be there is one of the great mistakes small companies make. And let me just tell you, I hate firing people. Let me just tell you something else. I am awful at hiring people. I'm the world's worst because I'm a salesperson. And I learned that when I sit in front of somebody, I sell myself on why I should hire them as opposed to figuring out the right reasons to hire them. So I learned early on to have other people in the company do the actual hiring, and then doing the firing. Typically, CEO has got to be that person, but it's the most painful thing ever, so you want to get it right.
Never stop moving. It's slow down.
Like I said, I'm horrible at interviewing and hiring people, so I try to get our folks who are much better at it than I am. But when I do it, kind of my drill questions are not to tell me about yourself or why you like, but what's one thing you failed at? Because I want to know if they've taken chances. What's one thing you've succeeded at? I do want to know why they left their last job if they're leaving a previous job. I want to know what's the best culture of a company that you've ever worked with. Who's the best manager you've ever worked for? I want to get them talking about their positive or negative experiences so I can understand whether or not they're going to be a fit. And that leads me to another very important point. There are no home run hires. probably the biggest mistake I see my portfolio companies make is something's not going as well as they want it to. Sales aren't where they should be, or more importantly, margin dollars are not where they should be. And then all of a sudden I get the email. We just hired this fantastic, incredible, amazing, stupendous person to be our new director of marketing, our new director of sales, our new head of revenue generation, whatever you want to call it. And they get so excited. And I just drop my head and say, oh, here we go again. I'm not going to say that you can't hire the right person and that person there won't be a person who can come in and help you. But if you find yourself hiring and hiring and hiring and always looking for silver bullet hires, you're in deep trouble, because it means you're not willing to do the work yourself to figure out what the underlying problem is. There's two things that matter the most: culture and competence. Are they competent enough to do the job, and do they fit in the culture of the organization? Okay, if they fail on either one, you're going to be in trouble.
It's a victim of Lehman's bankruptcy.
You want to hire people that complement your skill set. I think one of the biggest problems entrepreneurs / CEO can make is they hire people who are like them. You don't need to hire people like you. You got you, right? And I've always tried to partner with people who complement my skills. I don't need people to tell me yes. I can tell myself yes as a CEO, as an entrepreneur. I need people who are going to challenge conventional wisdom and challenge me. And when they think I've done something wrong, say, I think you're making a mistake here, and this is why. You know, I get that with Alex at Cost Plus Drugs. I get that with Cint at the Dallas Mavericks, and I look for that in all my companies.
The bank invested aggressively in the property market at its peak, but couldn't get out before the crash.
Back in 2017, when the Republicans started talking about wanting to repeal the ACA, I talked with some Republicans in Dallas, and they had no idea what they would replace it with. So I started thinking about things that could happen and putting together some programs. But it got me into healthcare, and it got me being a healthcare geek, right? Reading up as much as I could about how Medicare works, how the ACA works, what MedPAC is, how they determine rates, all this kind of stuff. And I kind of liked it, right? It was interesting to me. And obviously, when you think about healthcare in this country, whether it was 2017, 2018, or now, people don't think, well, it's great, right? When people, and again, going back to the word trust, you trust your doctor, hopefully, but you trust nothing else in the whole healthcare ecosystem. You don't think you're going to be charged fairly. You don't trust your insurance company to even pay if you have something that comes up. There is absolutely no trust.
When I came down Sunday,
and so in 2018, I got a cold email from a Dr. Alex Oshmayansky. And he was starting a compounding pharmacy in Denver, Colorado, to be able to make generic drugs that were in short supply or overpriced. And as he educated me on the generics industry and the pharmaceutical industry, I realized this could be a much bigger idea. I pushed him in the direction of saying, you know, let's create this company, call it Cost Plus Drugs, where we're completely transparent. We show you what our cost is, and we show you what our markup is, 15%. If you went on there and put in amoxicillin, you would see that our cost for 30 units was $3, and we marked it up 15%. So your price was $3.45, and as it's turned out, that price is cheaper than pretty much anywhere else you can get it. The fact that in 2023 in the United States of America, people are choosing between rent, daycare, food, and their medications is just insane. And so our mission is to change that.
we started shooting. We're looking for anything, any kind of movement, anybody in a suit.
There's really two reasons to start a business. I think I'm going to make some money. I think I've got a product I think or service that'll work, or I just love the mission. And the mission is more important than the business. And you have to decide which one of those fits you the best. With a mission, the challenge is, can you make any money off it? Because if it's just important to you and you're trying to save the world or whatever it is you're trying to have an impact on, it has to be self-sustaining. You can't create a business that's just going to suck money just because you're passionate about it. They call those charities. With Cost Plus Drugs, when Alex and I looked at co-founding it, it was half mission-driven. We're going to fuck up the pharmaceutical industry. This is going to be so much fun, I can't stand it. And half, do I think I'll make money on this? know, when you change an industry like this, even if you're just making pennies on every dollar, there's a lot of dollars involved. But we also had to figure out, can we make the business work at a 15% margin? And to do that, we have to be low
Close
cost.
to the firm, you know, it could be a little hot dog guy who stands on the corner. He's close to the firm.
That means we can't do all the things that other people we compete with might be able to do. Our customer service is going to be slower than other companies, and that leads to complaints. And we had to make the conscious decision that in the trade-off between spending more money on customer service reps or increasing the price of the medications to cover all that, we decided we're going to give up something in customer service but keep the lower cost, because someone not being able to afford their medications is more impactful than having them delayed. We launched it on January 19th of 2022. And all of a sudden, it just, you know, to say, you know, it grew 10 times faster than we ever expected is an understatement. I mean, our site was costplusdrugs.com, and it was crashing, and we couldn't keep up with the demand and this and that. But it just proves the point that transparency and trust is absolutely needed in the healthcare industry. The whole industry can be fixed, but the problem is we need to simplify it. And I tell our folks at Cost Plus since day one, we buy drugs, we sell drugs, but our biggest product is trust. And that was one of the key reasons why I put my name on it. I've never put my name on a company before, because I wanted people to realize that I'm all in on this. You know, I have the saying, when you run with the elephants, there's the quick and the dead. And so we have to be agile and move quickly in order to be able to compete against the big guys. And right now, we're the mice, right, running against the elephants. So they're not, they think about us and they ask about us because they know we're a threat, but they're not concerned about us yet. But we think that by working outside the system, we can be transparent, which they can't be. You know, so when you look at Amazon, Amazon's never going to show you their true costs. If you look at GoodRx, they're not showing you their true costs. We're the only company that does that. And in anticipating what those companies might do, you know, we're cost plus 15%. Could they do cost plus 1%? Yeah, they could, and we'll just have to deal with that. You know, so if someone comes along and says, cost plus 15% is way too much, we're going to be cost plus 1%. Then we'll fall back on what we know to be our core product, which is trust. But more importantly, we can look back and say, okay, step by step by step, Mark Cuban, Cost Plus Drugs, dismantled the healthcare industry for the better.
Categorically, from our perspective, we couldn't see how this deal could go forward.
In an era of social media, people make connections differently than they used to. And our connections are, we follow people, we have common interests, but we experience those interests online. And in doing so, we become part of a larger community. And when you connect to people on a personal level, good things happen.
Oh my gosh, Mark absolutely loves ideas. And that's what connected us to begin with when we first met. I just remember him and I diving straight into talking about a bunch of different business ideas.
I met Fallon at South by Southwest, and she was sharp. I mean, she was super smart, the youngest employee ever at Google and at YouTube. Fallon caught my attention with her skills and her intelligence and her drive. She not only checked all the boxes, but she knew what she was doing. She's good at what she does.
I mean, Mark Cuban has so many achievements in business. Obviously, Broadcast.com, which was the company that made him a billionaire, where he put streaming on the internet. And as I was sharing the ideas I had with him about Fireside, I was like, oh my God, like we're basically building the next generation of all of that. And so it made sense for us to build it together.
That's what we were told.
What we do at Fireside is partner with revenue-generating media franchises, IP owners, and brands that are already connecting with their consumers in a direct way. And we enable them to take those relationships to the next level. And we do that through interactive experiences that we power through our industry-first interactive streaming technology.
imagine you can now cook along with Michelin-star chefs and actually turn on your camera and join the stage and show your end product.
Fireside is not a social media platform. Very complementary to the communities that might start on social media. You can interact on platforms like Twitch or TikTok. Here, it's all about creating intimate connections between them and their communities. One great example of that, Matchbox 20 was one of the first artists that was on broadcast.com 23 years ago. 23 years later, Matchbox 20 is one of the first artists that is also launching a network powered by Fireside. What they're creating is an interactive fan experience. Rob or Kyle or Paul, one of the band members, they're going to be essentially on stage. So it's as if like you're literally talking. You can talk to them from the palm of your hand. You can watch them on the TV and be able to react to them. You can laugh. You can clap. You can ask a question. You can request to speak and get invited to turn on your camera and actually join the virtual stage and be able to now have this super fan experience. And so it ends up just creating almost a level of intimacy that is so powerful, and really it's an industry first. Mark's been very involved in the early shaping of not just the product, the technology, but also of the overall go-to-market strategy and marketing plan. Like the laughing and the clapping and the sound effects, I attribute a lot of that to his ideas. And I love that problem solving. I love that critical thinking. And I love doing that with a great team.
This was the first time.
One thing that companies tend to do these days is they start, but they don't really know how they're going to get to profitability. And that applies even more so with content companies. Because with content companies, it's often something that the creator is passionate about or has fun with. And they see the value of getting a following on a social media platform, but they never really think about how much work it is relative to the compensation. Typically on social media, you might have followers, but that's all you know. You don't really know anything about them. With Fireside, they solve that problem because they allow you to register your users. You own the users, unlike other platforms where they're the platform's user. This is your network. You control it. You control the upsells. You control the charges. You control the finances.
The content that you put on third-party platforms like social is not necessarily owned by you, the owner of that content, because those platforms are going to take that high-quality content and they're going to use it to fundamentally benefit their needs, which is to show someone an ad. What Fireside enables you to do is to take control of your IP, take control of your ownership of your community, and really be able to do it all on your terms.
When we started the streaming industry way back when, there were technological challenges, but one of the greatest challenges then, as it now, is monetization. It's one thing to get an audience, it's a whole other thing to monetize it. With Fireside, you register and you connect on the platform, and we know who you are, we know what your engagement is, you get to give real-time feedback to what's going on, and that allows us to create a level of engagement that no one else has seen before.
I couldn't believe that this was going to happen, and I couldn't focus.
So my approach to how much money do I spend on marketing or advertising is to try to figure out how little I can spend in order to increase my sales. I think one of the mistakes most companies make, large and small, is they try to buy their sales. You should focus everything you can on your next profitable customer. What can I do to get another customer, make them happy, and make them so happy about their experience or the product that they purchased that I can then go to them and ask them to refer me to other customers.
I reached out to Mark about our marketing strategy. We're obviously looking to expand our name nationwide, to build a more prominent presence. And I went to Mark and I said, hey, Mark, do you have any examples of how any of your brands or any of the other companies that you're mentoring have leveraged social media or marketing in any capacity to help build brand awareness? I said, what investments have they made? And he said, don't invest in anything. Ship some product for free to some nano influencers within the wine industry. He said, go on TikTok, go on Instagram, find some names who represent your target consumer. Ship them some free wine and ask them to post about Wondery. Don't pay an influencer a dime.
One thing I always wanted to try to do for my companies, whether I was 24 years old or now, is I always wanted to connect with people in the media, people in the industry who are influencers at some level or another. And then, like now, if there's anything written about my industry, I would email them or DM them saying, look, this is my company. We are in this industry that you follow, cover, write about, participate in, whatever it may be. You're always looking for content ideas for your industry column, for your podcast, for your newsletter, whatever it may be. I can help you with that. Let me tell you about my business. You might get 99% no, but if you get that one yes, that can be a huge difference maker, and it's free.
Marketing is absolutely one of our strengths, both marketing and PR. He doesn't spend money on having a PR person. He does everything himself. He reaches out to every single journalist. If there's a podcast he wants to be on, he'll reach out. So, you know, I think that's something that very much differentiates Mark, but he fundamentally believes that for his businesses, investing dollars to generate marketing outcomes is not the right approach. The reality is, with the rise of AI, which is aptly ChatGPT, the way in which people now go and search or try to research a particular topic or get information is changing at a rapid pace. So traditional marketing methods that invest a lot of, that require a lot of upfront investment, like SEO, or even paid advertising to a certain extent, is not going to be a sustainable use of your time. Now, Mark talks a lot about earned media. He talks a lot also about creating viral products where you just delight your customers, and then through that you're going to get word of mouth and referrals. Because like, don't spend money, like figure out how to be creative about your marketing.
With Cost Plus Drugs, to be the low-cost provider wherever we can be, and just sell at a 15% markup, you have to have a marketing strategy and a marketing plan. And we absolutely did. We decided we were going to do zero marketing and zero advertising. And the total amount of money we have spent since inception on marketing and advertising is zero. Now, how can you get away with doing that? You can get away with that when your impact on your customers is so great, they feel prideful when they tell other people about it. So if there's a patient that's buying a imatinib from us, and they had been paying $2,000, and now they're paying $41 or whatever, what's the first thing they're going to do? After celebrating, they're going to tell everybody else they know that has the same affliction, hey, you got to start buying from Cost Plus Drugs if you don't have insurance or your deductible is higher than $41, which is a lot of people. Don't ever try to buy sales. If you have to buy sales, something's wrong. Something is absolutely wrong. And I see this all the time. I was looking at a set of financials for a company I invested in, and they had a quarter where their sales didn't go up as much as they had budgeted, and they had spent just what they had expected to on advertising. And then the next quarter, I was like, wow, your sales really went up. They went up 17%. But then I looked at their marketing budget, and they had spent 27% to get that 17% increase. They were buying sales. That's always a mistake in my mind. If you're just trying to grow, spend to get that growth, and you're not there, don't have a direct path to profitability, if something goes wrong, you're out of business. And that's why you see so many companies fail. They spent just to grow their sales, blow through their cash so fast there's none left, and when it's all said and done, hey, we were a $20 million sales company, but we went out of business because their sales weren't profitable. Don't make that mistake. One of the biggest mistakes I think some entrepreneurs make as they're up and coming is thinking of themselves as a brand. And I say this to the Mavericks, our marketing people there, and I've said it to a lot of companies. Presenting yourself as a brand is counterproductive. It hurts more than it helps because you're overselling and it's forced and it's not organic. Brand recognition is earned. It's not forced or created. It has to be organic and authentic. So as an entrepreneur, if you hope someday that you could be, on the Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett spectrum, it's not something you can promote your way to. It's just not. It's something you have to earn organically through the things that you do, the things that you say. It's through your execution. It's through your accomplishments. And particularly now in a social media environment, they write the good things you do and the bad things you do, for better or worse, and that defines your brand, not you.
5,000 staff work at Lehman's European HQ in London.
Someone comes to me and asks me to help them evaluate risk. Yeah, it hasn't been so long. I'm not so removed from being broke that I can't put myself in their shoes. I talked to someone yesterday. Someone came up to me yesterday. And he says, I want to buy your time because I want you to help me try to figure out why I haven't been able to start this business. I've got the mortgage, I've got expenses, I've got some money in the bank, but not quite enough to start a company. And I told him, well, you've already answered your question. Because if it was truly important to you, you would have already gone to your family and said, this is my goal. Would you please be willing to cut back on this, and this? Am I willing to give up what I have now? Because at some point in every one of our lives, we realize the most valuable asset we don't own is our time. Are you willing to give up the time? Are you willing to go to your family and tell them there's not going to be work-life balance anymore? Those are the things that tend to stop us more than anything. Now for me, with 3 kids, I evaluate risk differently because my most valuable asset is time. Because risk evaluation is more about deciding if you're all in than anything else. That is really the risk evaluation for me now. Am I willing to be all in? And it has to be something really special for me to do.
Billionaire entrepreneur Mark Cuban is a man of many faces, titles, and businesses, but there is one other job title he is eyeing, the President of the United States.
I get lots of opportunities to give to politicians. Since the year 2000, I've never given to a politician or a PAC or anything like that. And the reason I don't is, and I tell this to every politician who asks, either you value my ideas or you don't. I don't want anything to be influenced by any money that I give you. I don't want to buy your interests. Either it's the quality of my idea or we don't have to work together. That's fine by me. My generation, the sex, drugs, and rock and roll generation, to evolve into the Fox News generation is the tragedy of a lifetime. It's never what I thought when talking to dudes with long hair, running around naked, let yourself be free. Did I think we'd get to this point? If you would ask me way back when I was a kid, what 2023 would look like, freedom, right? This and that, and accept everybody and tune out whatever. Oh my God, how the hell did we get here?
Another billionaire toying with the idea of running for president. Mark Cuban tells the New York Daily News he has not decided on anything yet, but says if the circumstances were right, he would run for president as an independent.
In terms of running for president, probably from the minute Donald Trump came down the escalator, I had people asking me if I would do it, to try to compete with him. The entrepreneur in me saw it as a possibility because I've known him for a long time, not a fan. That was the entire motivation. I think working families in this country felt like they were promised a better situation, less stress, higher wages. And I don't think he knows how to deliver. I'm an independent. I wouldn't run with either party. And I took a typical business approach, and somebody volunteered to do a poll to see how I would compare to all the other candidates. And I got like 25%, which is not bad. Actually, they said it was great, given that I've done no marketing, didn't put it out there. That was just throw my name into a hat type thing. Yeah, as an entrepreneur, when you see something that's been done the same way forever and is having problems, and you think you can do better, you think about it, and I certainly did. There were all kinds of things that went through my mind that I thought I could improve, and because of where we are, And because of the contentiousness, because of the extremism and tribalism and the lack of trust, we do need change. Because what happens is there's so people go to the comfort zones to try to get information. And